Welcome to the Online Supply Custom Length Bandsaw Blade Selection Helper and Guide. We understand that the number of selections on this page can be a bit overwhelming, so this video guide is just to make it easy for you to be able to figure out how to pick the most ideal blade for your application. So the first thing you're going to need to do is enter the length of the bandsaw blade that you need. If you're not sure on your band what the length is, click on the length helper and you'll see what comes up as a way to measure the length of your bandsaw to figure out the correct bandsaw blade length. Another easy way to do this is just to tie a string tightly around those wheels and then measure the string and then you can get your length that way. So we first of all need to get that correct length of your bandsaw blade. Once you have the correct length, let's just in this case pick 126 and we have a drop down for partial inches, so let's go 126.5 inches. The next thing we need is the blade width. So there are a number of different width selections for the bandsaw blade. Again, we have a helper. Click on blade width and you'll see that first off, based on the capacity of your saw, saws will have a maximum width bandsaw that they can take. So let's say in your case, your bandsaw can take up to a 1/2 inch bandsaw blade. The next thing you need to think about is what's the minimum radius you're going to want to cut with this particular blade, keeping in mind that you can get multiple blades for different applications. So if you want to be able to cut a 5/8 inch minimum radius, then the blade, the widest blade you want to go for that is going to be 1/4 inch. So 1/4 inch can cut as tight as a 5/8 inch radius. A 3/8 will cut 1.25 inches, a 1/2 inch cuts 2.5. So again, based on how straight or how curved you want to be able to cut, you want to make your width selection within there. So in this case, let's pick a 3/8 inch bandsaw blade, and what you'll notice in the bottom selection is that it will reduce the number of choices in the bottom here now that we've filtered it by that width. Next thing we need to do is select our teeth per inch. Once again, there are lots of selections here. There's even a slider bar, goes through a number of them. Teeth per inch has a helper as well. How to choose the correct number of bandsaw blade teeth per inch. Again, we're going to look at, in this case, minimum material thickness. So if the thinnest material that you're going to cut is 1/8 of an inch, well then you want to start at around 24 teeth per inch. If you're cutting nothing thinner than 3/4 of an inch, you want to start at a minimum of 4 teeth per inch. You can always go more, and you can see in the text on the side here some helpers on that. It really depends on the finish that you're looking for and the rate of feed you want to be able to put through that. So, there's a range of answers. So for general cutting of 3/4 inch wood, anywhere from a 4 tooth per inch, which is going to give you a fast cut, all the way up to even a 14 tooth per inch, which is going to cut really slow but leave you a nice smooth finish. So you can make your selection within that range, keeping in mind the finer you go, the more chance that that blade's going to clog up and cause you some issues. So you've got to be careful that you don't go too fine with that. Same applies for metalworking. That's the same principle completely there. So just, I like to work with the coarsest tooth that's going to give the results that we need. So in this case, one of our most common blades is a 3/8 with 6 teeth per inch. So you can see that this filter has brought us down to only 2 selections. It's left us with a flex back carbon and a hard back carbon selection. So I'm just going to remove the filters for a moment so that we can see all the selections again. And we're going to go through these materials. So what is flex back carbon? Flex back carbon is a general purpose blade. It's all steel and the teeth have been hardened. The back is not hardened, so it gives it some more flexibility. It can be used for wood, aluminum, low alloy steels. Not a real popular blade for steel cutting, but really good for some of those other materials you can see listed under applications. The next choice we have here is the hard back carbon blade. So very similar to the flex back carbon, except that this blade is hardened on the back side of the blade as well as being hardened on the teeth. Makes them ideal when you want straighter cuts or heavier feed pressure. You're really going to work this blade hard. That's where hard back is going to come in. The hardback blades do handle metalworking a little bit better than the FlexPack. So, you know, things like brass, bronze, aluminum, but still a very popular blade when it comes to wood and other materials like that. Now we also have, under the hardback section, we've listed a few specialty blades. We have covered off here are furniture blades, which are a thicker curved blade, so they're just a heavier thickness and tend to run straighter. They're a very aggressive cutting blade, so they're really good in the furniture manufacturing realm. And then we have our Quicksilver wood mill blades. So these are designed specifically for the stationary and the portable resaw machines. And you'll see those listed throughout the selection in here. Here's a 1-inch Quicksilver wood mill blade, and some other examples of different blades there. You'll also see mixed in here meat blades, which I'm not talking a lot about. If you're a butcher and you're looking for a meat blade, just go for the one that says meat blade. There's a furniture band right there. Next, we have the bimetal selections. So within the bimetal series, you have Matrix and M42. Bimetal means exactly what the word says. It's bimetallic. There's a high-speed steel tooth that's welded to a more flexible backing. The Matrix version of the bimetal blade is our general purpose, primarily for metal cutting, but there are a few applications and a few blades in there that work really nice for wood cutting as well. But primarily a general purpose metal cutting blade with those high-speed steel teeth that cuts your carbon steels, your structural steels, cuts single pieces, bundled, stacked pieces, all those different types of applications. And the M42 series of bimetal, that's our production blade. This is our hardest, most durable, rugged blade, primarily, again, for metal cutting, particularly if you're going to get into some of those harder alloys, some stainless steel, things of that nature. You can go to the M42. But again, some of the coarser ones can also cut wood or other things like aluminum as well. Now, back to that tooth selection, you'll notice that there is also some variable pitch selections, as well as some kind of funny indications. So what we have here, 3/4 pitch and 7/8 pitch, that means there isn't even 1 tooth per inch on these. These blades, the teeth are 3/4 of an inch apart or 7/8 of an inch apart. And then you go through the 1 teeth per inch through up to 32 teeth per inch. And then the variable pitch, these are only available in the bimetals, and they vary in their pitch. So they alternate between a 2 tooth per inch and a 3 tooth per inch. A very common one for sort of maintenance shop metal cutting is a 10-14. So that'd be a section of 10 tooth per inch, followed by a section of 14 tooth per inch. So let's load up our selections again. Let's go with a 1/2 inch, 10 tooth, and let's pick a bimetal. Now you'll notice that as we make the selection on the one at the bottom, that the price up here will change. So that is the blade being priced live for you for your current selection of length, width, tooth per inch, and material selection. That price before discount is the factor that we use for our discount structure. So once that blade reaches $100 or more, so in this case, 2 of them would give you over $100, they will drop to $38.83 each, again in this particular case. Now the nice thing about how we set that up is this is mix and match. So if you want to throw one of those into your cart and then pick a different blade, a 14 tooth, and put one of those in your cart as well, however you get to that dollar volume, doesn't matter, it will all justify in the cart with your proper discount. The final thing you need to know is we do, because these are custom-made bands, we do have a minimum order on them. We will do only a minimum of $40 worth of bands at a time, so make sure your order adds up to at least $40 before placing your order. So hope that helps, and we'll look forward to looking after you with your custom-made bandsaw blades.